The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, the perfect place for a pre-match pint.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very well welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and I might sound a little bit different this evening because I am talking into Donald Trump's hair, apparently. We'll tweet a picture, you'll see. We're actually recording this evening from the new Wednesday Tap, the club's new pub. Tagline, you can have that for free Wednesday, honestly. Professional. Yes, we are cheating on our mistress this evening. Of course, the Riverside Cafe is our utter darling, and we are wedded to them thoroughly, but they're not open at the moment, so we popped in here just for a little look-see. And joining me for that little look-see, first of all, we have Mr. Marriott. Jamesy, how are you?
This is really weird.
It is really weird. I'm looking at you.
We're actually sat next to each other. I mean, I'm sure most listeners realise this, that you know, when we do this every week, we do it via an internet connection. We're all sat in our respective cellars and attics. Vic can see the North
stand for me. Yeah.
And this is the first time we've ever actually was all sat round the same table. Like I can actually see your faces. I don't like it.
It's really weird.
It's weird.
Really
At least
weird.
not in the bath this week.
I've had to get dressed and everything.
We've all at some point done it naked. Let's not lie.
And of course, Victoria's here, my darling. How's this for you?
Good. I feel really weird. Good evening, my lord. It feels really odd. I can't say it to your face.
I expected a curtsy in person.
Well,
Victoria, come on.
yeah. Well, I was in a rush. I was cold. Yeah, hi. It's just really, really weird. It's so strange. Like, we'll talk in the pub normally, but now we're talking in the pub with, like you said, a giant grey fluffy microphone in front of us, and I feel like I have to lean funny and talk into it. It's very, very odd.
The mic does look really funny, and there's a reason why. Because I mean, the mic is quite big. I ordered this mic so we could do this recording tonight, and I ordered the white one because I thought it'll look brilliant with our blue muff on top. I didn't realise how big the mic was going to be, and the muff doesn't fit. It's not even close to fitting. So I've had to use my.
So you have muff problems.
Yeah,
basically.
I've had to whap out the reserve muff.
Yeah.
It's the Don muff.
It needs a bit of It's more a Don King, isn't it?
Don King.
Yeah.
And of course, have you heard Mr. Dickie Owl is here as well? Dickie, how?
Good evening. Yeah, it is rather weird. Just seeing you while I'm doing it, rather than
Just right.
being sat in my pants at home.
Actually, looking at Dickie in person, I'm looking at
Yeah,
this
all
mic.
right. You can't see what I'm doing now, but I am rodding him.
So we usually do that. We can't see each other whilst we're doing it, can we? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
whatever.
Yeah. So obviously we're in the tap. It's very, very nice, actually, isn't it, boys and girls? It's unusually rustic and not what I expected, if I was. Usually when you see these fancy new gastro pubs and all this kind of thing, you lose that bit of comfort, if you like. It's rather straight lines and things, but this is lovely. It really is. I'm sure everyone's seen the pictures on Twitter and things.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. I'm really impressed.
For anyone that doesn't know, it's what used to be the Sheridan Suite. And before, I came after the game on Saturday. And the last time before then that I was in this room was a birthday do about 2 years ago, and it was typical of a kind of a function room in a football club that was a little bit run down. The pictures on the wall were just of like random scenes, and it wasn't anything particularly special at all. It just felt like you were in a bit of a function room. Whereas now it's well on its way, isn't it, to becoming something really, really nice. Some really nice tables and chairs and stuff, and the big barrels near the bar. And for me, I judge any pub on the strength or otherwise of its beer selection. And it is a Thornbridge pub, and it has top-notch beer on, including some kind of stout that I'm drinking tonight, which I've never had before. So it's one of the few occasions where I get to try Thornbridge beer I've not had before. So I'm impressed with this.
I think as well, like for people like me and like Rich now who live nearby, it's quite nice to have another option of a pub. Like we've got the Riverside Cafe on a weekend, But midweek, your only other option really is going up to the Park Hotel or walking for miles to the New Barrett Tavern.
Nah.
You can't get a taxi to the New Barrett Tavern because that's just lazy. You don't want to walk 20 minutes for one.
I would.
You've got that extra like.
Yeah, but even from the ground here, I'd still get it. It's a hell of a walk.
But now we've got somewhere that we can come
Staggering
like
it out of.
7 days a week. You can stay in the attic.
I might take your point.
Can
You can see the,
Oh,
You
yeah,
can,
that's all.
yeah.
But no, it's lovely. We were just speaking to Mr. Cox, Richard.
Rob Cox.
Rob Cox, fantastic. Head chef at Sheffield Wednesday, who's sort of pulled all this together. Hopefully we'll get a proper chat with them, get them on the podcast. But obviously it's been a collaboration with Thornbridge, and even some of the furniture's come from Thornbridge. We've got some barrels out that have been turned into tables, which are Thornbridge barrels, and all sorts of things. There's some brilliant artwork on the wall. We've got Mr. McKee's artwork up there, and of course there is a real dream scene, not a print, a real dream scene up in here as well. So you can.
Where? Is that?
Just around the corner.
Hold on. I'll be back
Oh, I
in a
sat
minute.
Vic's
sat
having a
underneath
wander
that
to
for
the-
an hour and a half on
You
Saturday.
didn't even
didn't
see it?
notice.
Did you realise I was sat across from you as well?
Were you there on Saturday?
Yes, I'm sat across from you.
Are you shitting me?
I'm
Were
not
you
shitting
there on
I'm
Saturday?
really well sat across from you. I knew you didn't realise.
And that was me.
And it's also
I
got
was
Sky
taking it
TV,
steady
my
on
lord.
Saturday.
That's pretty impressive. We can. Well, I can't see it because it's behind a pillar, but we can watch the match while we're doing this. can't we?
Yes, that's true. It is behind a pillar. You have sat in the exact wrong.
I'm sat as here, so we can't see it.
And the other thing that used to be my complaint whenever about I came to like a function or anything in here was the fact that you just don't get mobile reception, but they do now have free Wi-Fi.
Free Wi-Fi,
Free
yeah, so it's all
Wi-Fi.
good.
Thank you,
That actually
Richard
works.
Ford.
Yes.
So you're right, there isn't a mobile signal, but there's Wi-Fi, so you're alright, jobs are good, all happy.
And if you sit above here in the actual ground, you can pick up the free Wi-Fi as well. Fantastic.
Is that true?
I don't know.
I need to move seats.
Probably not. Right, so yes, this is our venue. So if we do sound a little bit odd, this is the reason why. However, we do need to have a little chat about some football as well, legends. And I must admit to probably feeling rather odd doing this in Hillsborough, just in case I say something negative, shall we say. I've got
I
a
think we
feeling-
do.
And if you start talking nice things about New Year, you're not going to have you.
No,
You can throw a chair at
Very-
you here.
Absolutely.
It's bench.
This is our first
It's not
podcast
like a-
scrap.
That is actually something as well. We're all sat on like a little church pew each, aren't we? That's quite
Beautiful.
cute.
It really
It is nice.
Very, very rustic. So, I daren't say any of this now because I've got a feeling that maybe there are some club lackeys ready to jump on us if we start saying bad things. But let's start the whole game, ladies and gents. Obviously, we it's sort of old Hull won, didn't we? Because of that situation. But the whole team is a different team to that team, whereas our team is pretty much the same. There were cries for a much more flowing attacking type of football, and we did maybe start a little bit flowing attacking, but it soon dropped off.
Which game were you watching?
It's sort of right. I think sort of like the first 10 minutes kind of looked like
Yeah.
it might be about to happen for us, but it just didn't last long, and it was
Yeah, the following 70
it was
were
kind
pretty
of
awful.
I must
kind of
admit-
same old story, wasn't it? Like defensive lapses, not taking chances, and yeah.
It was
just-
nice to have some chances, let's be honest. It was nice to see that first shot on target when
Yeah, that was
actually
quite nice,
everybody
yeah.
celebrated.
But how embarrassing is
Biggest
that though?
cheer of the day,
yeah. For a club, for a fan base, for any of us, the fact that there were people actually up like dancing up and down.
We've
Actually
had a
on
shot,
target.
we've had a shot, yeah.
I think as well, the thing is as well, like, if you look at teams below us in the league who are really struggling and look at us and think, well, they're on a 7th game unbeaten, like what's wrong with them? They're going to be really annoyed at that.
It was frustrating. One of my bugbears is leaving Hillsborough early, but I felt like leaving at half time on Saturday was that bad. And Riley was trying to convince me to come to the pub. Normally he's 11, and that normally doesn't take any persuading whatsoever. But Saturday it was touching, and I thought I'll give it a go. And yeah,
If you had left at half time, you wouldn't have seen the marvellous wonderfulness of the saviour of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, Acton Youth, coming on and saving the game.
bleached my eyes and picked them out with a blunt knife. There.
See, the problem that we've got here, all joking aside, is Dave's he's playing well at the moment. He's doing well, and that's because we're kind of back to playing the same kind of football that we were when he was like our first choice striker.
Yeah.
We're just kind of lumping it forward, and he's loving it. And
I must
you know,
admit,
there were 20-30 minutes weren't there, in the second half where we were all right. I don't think we were ever convincing, and I think that we were only as good as Hull were absolutely terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
they were an awful team in that second half. They had absolutely nothing, and I'm not surprised at all that the manager went after the game, because they were awful. If we were playing anyone decent in that second half, I think they'd have wiped the floor with us.
And we didn't deserve anything more than what we got on Friday.
we didn't even really
Saturday.
deserve what we got, did
no,
we?
we didn't.
I think
We're in the room
Sorry.
and you're still
I
miserable.
know.
Yeah.
The thing is, as well, I haven't found myself since probably Gary Megson days, probably Stuart Gray days, actually shouting at the centre halves, going, "Just hoof it, just hoof it! Somebody get it up there," because it was going nowhere near anybody. And then it wouldn't. It would be passed to Morgan Fox, then it would go back to Juice Van Aken, then it would go to Leuven's, then to Westwood, and it's like, for God, somebody just kick it up the field, especially when you've got Atty on at 8 foot tall.
Well, that's what essentially happened. When Atty came on, we reverted to, I don't want to say hoofball, let's call it Atty ball, or let's call it the Saviour Sheffield Wednesday football ball.
Oh my God.
Because everything, this is the thing with Atty, is somebody has still yet to show me something that he's done wrong. There is
I
nothing.
could show you something in the match. He had a shot at the left-hand
Oh,
side of goal.
I knew you were going to pick
And
up on that one.
that was Dave, though.
No, but
That was
that's
that
not
was
wrong.
Dave.
I need to take you back 2 years to Alfreton, to a pre-season friendly. And I was sat there, and Wednesday fans on the side of the pitch. And
I
you've
said
heard,
to
you've
my
heard this
mum,
story
I
before.
said to my mum, I went, Richie's going to bring that up. on the
I'm going
podcast.
to, absolutely am. So he kicked the ball back towards the bench and hit it 30 yards to the right of the bench. And that was him aiming for the bench. And it was like, everybody around us groaning like,
I tell you what,
Dave's not changing then.
let's have a Twitter off, right? I challenge you tomorrow, right? We shall sit down and we shall find videos of things that Atty's done wrong. And
You'll
things
just
that
find the good
Atty's done
stuff.
right. Exactly, you find the bad stuff, I'll find the good stuff, and I will.
I've got to
Full-time
look
job.
find
What about 2 minutes into injury time on Saturday when he's got the ball in the corner and all he's got to do, like, he's probably the strongest man on the pitch. All he's got to do is just stand there and not let the ball go out for a goal kick.
Yeah, that's what
And what happens? He lets the ball go out for a goal kick. They fire it up the other end. Granted, I think it was offside, but they still scored, and we throw away 2
But
points.
you told me that he was at fault for that goal, and actually, I've spoken to a few people, and then your description then, that doesn't mean he was at fault for the goal. There was still like 9 other men in between that.
Deep into injury time when you're 2-1 up in a game that you don't really deserve to win, and you think, you know, if there's going to be any luck that goes against us, it's going to be an injury time.
Yeah.
You
And
play
he
the
still can't get a
percentages,
shirt
don't
in
you?
the face.
No, but then
He's got an extra 5 inches on the bottom now. I love it. My dad said, "How come he's got a white trim? I want a white trim on mine." I said, "She's not 7 foot tall."
Because he's got a t-shirt underneath. It's like,
No, it's sewn in.
Is it sewn in, is
It's
it?
sewn in.
is Mr. Wood the Saviour Sheffield Wednesday Football Club?
No.
You do have to be the Saviour Sheffield Wednesday Football Club for that to happen. But you mentioned the things that, Atty could have held it in the corner. Mr. Reach could have put a tackle in instead of going woo like that.
Yeah, well,
he actually
fair
made that
enough.
noise. Mr. Palmer, although he did play reasonably well, could have been in position because that chap shouldn't have been sat there on his Todd to, let's face it, knee a ball into the net,
Yeah,
which
I
is
mean,
horrendous.
no one comes out of it looking great, you're right, but you're not saying that anyone else is the saviour of Sheffield Wednesday.
No, because it's not just.
But what has
Atty's
he
responsibility.
saved us from?
It's
saved points. It's saved so far.
No,
Two
we,
points this season.
we lost 2 points on.
No,
Yeah,
he
but
saved us one of them. Because had Atty not been
We were
there to
losing.
nod that wonderful Atty ball,
Knob that, did you say?
nod,
Nod. I thought you said knob.
How long have you been in this pub, Rick? to nod that ball down
That
to Mr.
long.
Hooper, then it wouldn't have been there because we've seen that time and time, and that is what I did as well. He plays stickball, and yes, we've spoken about sort of passing it here, passing it there, the tiki-taka football that we try to play very well. We've not maybe got the players to play that beautifully. We're not Barcelona, let's face it. But then we can either do that and pass it around a bit and everybody gets frustrated, or we can lump it to Atty, which ended up happening, and suddenly the football got exciting. People are scared of the Saviour Sheffield Wednesday Football Club.
I also think that people are more in favour of Atty, and don't get me wrong, my lord, it's so weird because you're here. Don't get me wrong, like, I've always been an Atty fan, but I do think that
shit.
a lot have come out of the woodwork since Mr. Clark's scenario, because I think a lot of people are very, very wary of slating another lumpy like centre forward and actually having him come back and go. He won't go to the place because he's not. You know, he won't go there, but he could end up at Rotherham or Doncaster or wherever and end up doing really well, and then there'll be people like us going, see, I told you he was good, just like I do with Leon Clark, and I do think it's changed people.
Fair play, he did come in and turn the game on.
Of course it is,
on
because it's the
Saturday.
Saviour Sheffield Football Club.
But just a
Aren't you boring yourself?
bloody awful footballer.
He's not.
I nearly got my kit on
He's
and came on
really
myself.
not Atty.
Because I'm as tall as he is.
Fudge mentioned last week about when you watch Yao and his all arms and legs, and sort of back to the Cout and Palmer situation where big tall players crouch, big tall players aren't very good with the ball at their feet. Ati is actually better with the ball at his feet than he is in the air. He's a good footballer.
But you know what I've noticed the last couple of games, he actually has been jumping up and heading it.
Yeah.
I don't mind pointing at my head because people can't see that.
Yeah, but we can. You can. It's so weird.
But he has actually, I'll give him his due, he has got up and headed the ball for the first time in bloody ages when I thought before he was just rooted to the ground.
Well, he set up roads with a header, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's how he did it. So.
And it's not just that. I mean, you look at what he does, and when he does play ball at his feet, he actually attacks from the front as well. Because if you've got Ati lumbering down,
That's what I always do. I always attack from the front.
attack from the front, Richard. And that's what I'm quite worried about because we're face to face now as well.
I know.
But for those listening at home, Richard's just
Physical contact.
James.
That's sexual assault these days. I realise that,
Sorry,
don't you?
I'm like,
Hashtag me too.
There'll be some CCTV footage coming out of.
there's no cameras.
But no, I am getting a little bit tired of people slating at it when he has done nothing wrong.
But, right, the whole fact that we're having this conversation and it's December 2017 is just depressing as hell. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we said on numerous occasions last season, Ati's time's been and gone. You know, we're moving on as a club, and you know we should be aiming for better players than what we've got. We find ourselves in the situation now where we've sort of regressed and we've gone backwards, and we're now back to talking about Ati being a potential solution, and it's like that just reflects badly on us as a football club that we've gone back to that point.
They don't.
Not all, but if you look at Carlos's first season,
He does. Why are
Carlos's
we
first
relying on a
season.
bang average player to get us promoted?
Carlos's first
We're playing
season,
bang
the best
average
one out of the
football.
lot,
That's the
yeah,
problem.
That's the problem.
He's the only one in form, won't he?
Carlos's first season was
The tactics are wrong, the game plan's wrong, and we're getting to this point whereby we've got to bring on Ati and play very direct football. And there is a time and a place for it, and sure, maybe actually against Hull it was the only way we were going to get something, just because of the kind of like naff sort of set up to not concede team that they are. But we should be able to get the same kind of results out of someone like Fletcher, who we all have to concede is a better footballer than Ati.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. What's Fletcher done? He just
Well,
whacked
yeah, I mean,
Set up 7 goals
I can't
for
argue with it, but that worries me.
But then Ati did
more
that in
so.
one game.
Okay. It's an interesting topic because there's obviously pedigree versus form at this point as well. And right now we can't say that Ati's not the form player. He's playing well. He's setting up goals. He's done what Ati does.
However, he did not win Man of the Month, did he, James?
He didn't win Man of the Month.
I did vote for him once on mobile and once on the laptop.
Did you
and
cheat?
Once at work.
Oh, Victoria's a cheat.
But no, Mr. Bannon claimed that prize, which I think, in fairness, is probably very, very fair. He was, again, not the best of a bad bunch because I think he's been way above average, but that is like comparing the other Spice Girls to Posh Spice, isn't it? It was just, he's been awful. The team's been awful, he's been okay. That's the main thing.
I think he's had a good month, to be fair, Bannon. I think he put in some good
Posh
performance.
Dave.
Posh Dave.
Posh Dave.
Sorry, I was replying to people around the corner who were obviously clapping their
I'm going to say hello. Right, so last little thing on you, I promise. We're discussing this earlier on Twitter. Chat on Twitter sent us a little message. Jimmy on Twitter. So, Carlos's first season, knew who. Started 23 games, made 28 sub appearances. That's 51 appearances in Carlos's first season. And we had a wonderful, joyous season.
We did.
And
That we did.
got to the break. That partnership with Hooper. The thing is, we had to, even if you look at the knockdown on Saturday, and I promise I'll stop talking about this in a minute. Look at the knockdown on
Like a
Saturday.
petulant child.
Do you need a little bit of a cushion over that? Currently. You're looking a bit happy.
The knockdown wasn't perfect, right? It went right across the goal. But Mr. Hooper is a very, very, very good sniffing
Doesn't matter.
footballer.
Maradona's goal wasn't perfect, was he? And it still went in.
And that's the point. Even the actual defenders,
We comparing Madonna?
Yeah.
Madonna?
I just don't do-
Madonna than bloody Maradona.
even the actual defenders thought, oh, that's a crap head down. So they just didn't really bother chasing Mr. Hooper. And Mr. Hooper, the finish was fantastic because he was going right across goal and it went right back the other way. And because he's such a good striker, then when Ati does these odd things, then Mr. Hooper can make the best of them. It's
Hooper's a
perfect.
poacher, isn't he? That's
Yeah,
the thing, and
he's a sniffer.
that's what he relied upon with Fletcher as well. And I think Fletcher, I feel sorry for Fletcher because I do think he's been overlooked just for the fact that we paid £10 million for Jordan Rhodes. I think that's the main reason that people want to see something out of Jordan Rhodes, and the fact is it's not coming. But when Fletcher plays, look how many goals he set up.
But
for
there's a
Hooper.
reason it's not coming from Rhodes, and it's where we play.
Yeah,
If we don't play to his strengths.
He also needs to
He'd
put on
scored
about
tw-
2 stone and
He'd
get in the
scored
bloody
20
gym
goals.
because he just
He'd scored 20
he could go-
goals. I keep saying this.
And he'd fall
I'm
over.
bored of saying it, but we're not getting the best out of him. And
Yep, can't argue.
the
with that.
manager is not getting the
We're
best
not
out
playing
of the
attacking
players.
football for him, are we? You
Simple.
look at when he played at Huddersfield, when he was, let's be honest, at the top of his game, or Blackburn. You know, that was when he was getting just hoofballs into the net.
Yeah.
But at the moment, he just doesn't seem to have that strength to take them on as well.
He's still low on confidence, isn't he? Anyway, can we move on to slagging someone else off now?
Far away.
Marco
Rich.
Matthias.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, he was dreadful.
What a waste,
was the
what a
point
waste of
of
time.
him being on the pitch?
What a waste
You
of
might
time.
as well have
On-
drawn a beard on me and painted my teeth white. And
What,
everyone
to go with
would
the
have thought-
moustache?
Yeah, I know. Everyone would have white. Everyone would have thought.
What that moustache there.
Normally I say that and I'm lying, but I actually have, and you can see. But I actually thought he was just so disappointed. Like, you know when your mum says, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed," and I really thought he was going to come back this like brand new player. Like we've said for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's going to be like a brand new player when he finally gets in the team. And he came on. Well, he looked like he'd never seen a football in his life.
Yeah, I think it was that one failed back heel he did, wasn't it? And that was about it. What a waste of 45 minutes.
It was just ineffective, wasn't it? Like his movement was predictable, easy to mark. He wasn't. He didn't create anything, and he didn't seem to kind of know how to create anything. Like he was playing obviously along the side of the pitch, close to where I sit, and you could kind of see where. Well, that's where he should be making a run. Why is he not doing it? Like it just wasn't. It's as if he'd forgot how to play. By the way, the other thing as well, now we've got these new permanent advertising boards. I can no longer see the touchline now because they're a bit taller.
Boards are
So
too bright.
I have to kind
God
of
sake.
guess and.
The thing is as well though, seeing like this nice little Spanishy whatever man playing football in midfield, didn't it just make you realise how much we should have fought for Alex Lopez last season? He should not have gone back. When you look at that he's disappeared
Yeah.
and actually we've got Matthias.
I'm going to be miserable as well. I didn't like Lopez either. So there we
Do you
go.
like anybody?
Yeah, I do. But they've got to put a shift in, and they're not. There's no one at the minute putting a shift in.
Barry
Except
Bonham
for the
just
saviour of
did you like
Sheffield
Barry-
Wednesday.
Barry
Yeah,
Bonham?
but he does occasionally. I mean, I voted for what they call him, Portuguese defender for player of the month. Yeah. I can't remember his name because he's all in the team
Federico
sheet.
Fernandez.
That's the one. That's who I voted for my player of the month.
We
Man of the
might be
month.
seeing him soon because obviously now we've had the information that Mr. Lee.
Lees.
Tom Lees.
I was getting wrong. He's going to be out. He's having surgery, so he's going to be out for a while now, isn't he? That's another one on the injury bench. So we might actually see the chap.
Do you think he was? I mean, I thought he had an awful game at Ipswich.
Yeah,
I think he was actually injured that night. There was something going on before the game, and that's why he didn't have such a good
If he's
game.
having surgery, it sounds like he's played on it for a while, doesn't he? It's very rare unless you break a bone or snap a ligament or something. It's very rare that you'll be taken off the pitch and go straight for surgery. It's usually something that's been building up that they will normally wait until the next international break or something just to kill a bit of time. But
Oh, we've seen it with Fessy. Obviously, he was clearly not right for a while before he went.
yeah,
and
for
then
many reasons.
obviously, Hutch. But that might be the reason. You don't know. If we're sort of filling him full of pain-numbing drugs to let him play, then it's not going to be great. He seems a much happier chap again. He's smiley Fessy from the photos we've seen.
Have you seen him dancing with his
course he is.
tennis
He's
ball
in-
between his
Yeah,
thighs?
lovely.
He's sunning it up anywhere, wherever
He's
he
in
is.
Madrid.
Is
He's in Madrid because
I
every
think
day on
I'd
his
be fairly
Instagram,
happy if I was
think,
recovering in
is he
Madrid.
back yet? Is he back in England? No, he's just in Madrid with his wife and his baby, just going around the Christmas markets, having a like bratwurst the other night. Like, no, get over.
Bratwurst in Madrid.
Hard life.
Well, it's Christmas market, isn't it? So
What, paella or something? Didn't it have that paella?
that's xenophobic. Isn't
They had
it?
those in. They had that on the German Christmas market in Berlin. We'll go swap.
That's
What
in
do they have?
Stuttgart.
So in Germany, do they have like an English market?
No, they have a Spanish one.
And what about in Spain?
They have bratwurst.
They have bratwurst. They have German.
So they have German.
It's like
so what
a-
do we have then?
Well, as is on Fargate, you can judge it for yourself.
Mostly
Stick to
from Leeds,
Manchester.
isn't it? In all seriousness, like with injuries, because we obviously got rid of the physiotherapy staff, didn't we, in the summer, and brought in all new ones because of the fact that they were unhappy about our fitness over the last couple of seasons. And yeah, it's probably been worse this season. We've had more injury problems. Are we just unlucky, or is there something not
Do you know,
right?
as long as I can remember, we've had awful luck with injuries. I remember going back
We
to
play on
donkeys
concrete
when Alan
down
Smith,
Midwood Road.
when Alan Smith was physio.
Yeah.
I remember at one point there was every game. I can't remember what season it was. It was in the 80s. Every game there was somebody coming off in a stretcher, and it was for God's sake.
The
It
thing
was
is,
the
at
old-
Midwood Road, the training ground at Middlewood Road. That's why we've wanted to move so many times as well, is because it's churned up concrete underneath the pitch. It's like they can only make it as good as possible. If it's still on like solid concrete, it's not going to help people.
Are some of these injuries, do you think, from last season, though?
I remember one year, my lord, when I was about 18, 19, and my ex was in the academy there, and the dome actually blew away while they were all training inside it, and somebody really damaged their ankle and finished their career. I can't name names, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Which ex was that, Vic?
No, Kyle.
I'm just
Dealt
checking.
with for 6 years.
I know, those,
My ankle soon healed, and then I just took
And then
up Lording
you
instead of
decided,
football.
yeah, you decided to be a lord instead.
But no, back to the whole game. We have to have some positives about it, don't we?
No.
We scored twice.
We scored 2 goals.
Yeah.
Cooper back to 4.
We had 4 shots at
Scoring.
least on goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We had a referee decision go
Oh,
our way.
what an awful referee.
What an
And
awful referee.
Carlos got sent to the stands, so he might have a touchline ban. And the last time he had a touchline ban, we won both games.
My favourite thing when he got sent to the stands was
I
them
don't know if that's a
Scraping the
positive
barrel
or
here,
not,
aren't
is
we?
it?
We're scraping.
See, I don't.
don't let him back in.
See, I have to be careful at this point as well, because I will always back whoever's in charge, as always, of course. Carlos did make the change that changed the game by bringing on the Saviour Sheffield Wednesday Football Club batting you onto the pitch.
I'm currently shaking my head, everybody, just to let you know.
I can see him doing it. Actually, he's actually literally got his hand on his face and he's just had enough. In fact, everybody else, people are actually drinking now. Even the bar staff are sick of hearing me say that. But Carlos made that change and it changed the game. And obviously he had a rant afterwards as well, didn't he?
I
Oh,
haven't
look at
even
it.
bloody listened, to
Oh,
be
yeah,
honest
yeah.
with you.
He did,
I'm
yeah,
not-
proper had a- Dummy
he
was
went
proper
off
out.
on one, didn't he? And I just think, who did he blame this time? Referee, obviously. Was it
Yeah,
fans
yeah.
again? Was it the fans?
He said it was a
probably?
penalty, but it wasn't a penalty.
It wasn't a
didn't-
penalty.
It didn't. It hit his rib.
And
It's
players
generally
like
been
Mike-
acknowledged, isn't it, that it wasn't.
Hit his
Players
rib.
like Michael Dawson as well, 9 times out of 10 do not give away a penalty that's stupid, because he's a skilled, old school, long time professional. He's not that daft.
Well, him that ploughed Fessy down last time.
Yeah.
Fessy.
Yes, it was, yeah,
But
that's it, yeah.
that's
So is
old
it-
school Tottenham Hotspur defender, isn't
Horrible
it? It's
little
like,
shit.
I would have Dawson as our centre off, I tell you,
I
all day
would
long.
definitely,
All day long.
100%.
He knows his stuff. doesn't
Yeah, he gets away with loads of stuff, gets away with balls.
But he's a
and
very
by
clever
Fessy's
defender,
down.
like a lot of the time Tom Lees can be. When Tom Lees makes some tackles and you think if that had been a second earlier or a second later, there'd have been a broken leg there. But he doesn't even have to think about it because it's just ingrained in his blood, that's just what he does. And I must admit, when everyone was calling for it, and I was like, was that Dawson? I just can't see Dawson diving on the floor and saving a ball with his hands. I just can't see him do it. And he
I
didn't.
actually saw
he
him do
didn't. Did you?
Yeah,
Did you?
absolutely. He
Yeah.
did. And I'm
Have you got the same tally as
I'm the
Carlos?
Carlos camp for this one. I think that's a blatant handball.
You're as camp as Carlos, did you
I
say?
am as
that?
camp
Yeah,
as
that's what
Carlos.
it is.
And I think that was a blatant handball, and I think he should have been sent off. We should have had a penalty and just sealed the game there. Simple as that.
5 Live, not 5 Live, 5.
James's programme.
Channel 5.
Channel 5, James's
I've not
channel.
got my soundboard, I can't play it.
He's a smart man.
Anyone do an Irish accent? No?
They ran it about 3 times,
Yeah.
and the first time full speed, and it looked like a penalty, no doubt. And they paused it right against his rib cage.
No,
And the thing is, as
no,
well,
they said
I
it
have to
looked
say,
like it was against the rib.
the ex Saviour of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club, Clinton Morrison,
Yeah.
did say that it wasn't a penalty,
He also
and
said
I
that the
trust
whole manager
Clinton's
wouldn't
word.
get
What Clinton
sacked.
says
Oh,
What
is
Clinton
always true.
says goes.
Clinton said that the whole manager wouldn't get sacked because of that performance, and he did. So
a
Clinton's
day
not
after
always
that,
right.
so in
Technically not
fairness.
true. He left by mutual consent. There was
Yeah.
a difference.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
it wasn't the
him
same day. He
also
could have
saying,
walked
"I've
into
had
the
enough."
office and had a poo, and they might have sacked him. So it might not have been.
I think
that.
that's what happened. I actually think that's
Say
what
it could have been that.
So I assume by this chat that we're having that your football tanks are still as empty as they were last week. when we
Yes.
recorded.
I came up with a new word today, which is Cout. Couts. And it's inspired by Brexit, which is also something that I'm a tremendously big fan of. And it's the word that I'm now going to use for people that, such as myself, that are just at the end of the tether now with Carlos. It represents the phrase "Carlos out." I am a Cout. You've got to say it carefully.
I'm going to say,
It can go
are
wrong.
you definitely saying Cout?
Cout.
Okay.
Carlos. Oh, so see out.
See out.
I was going Carlos out. But it's not. Just
There's no.
see out.
It depends how
just Cout.
passionate you are about Carlos being out. There might be a after it, but
Carlos out.
you're a bastard. So there has been some positive Wednesday news this week. James, you mentioned last week that Matt with 5 tees?
Oh, I think it's more than that. It's about 7.
7 tees. Matt, with lots of tees,
Yes.
had posted a Just Giving page for his young nephew Jack for a sensory room in the house, in the new house we moved into. And it was all going very, very well. And then Mr. Fessy was kind enough to donate £500.
He gave that, didn't he? Just like 10 minutes after I'd given an anonymous £10. I was like, you absolute bastard.
Oh, well, what's worse, him doing that or you pointing out that you made an anonymous donation?
I don't
It's
know how
not
to
very
change
anonymous
it.
anymore, is
No,
it?
well, I don't mind. I've got it set like that on Just Giving. It's because when I used to work for Cavendish and I used to give to other people's things and thought I'd get in trouble.
Yeah.
Rich will have to change it for me. I don't know how to do it. But yeah, I'd literally just done it and got an email thanking me, and then it came up. Everyone going, Fessy's just given £500. I was like, I've just not eaten for tonight.
It was good though, when I saw that, and I kind of had to look at it twice
Yeah.
and think, does it actually say Fernando Forestieri? And I think 2 more players have done it since. I don't know who
George
they are.
Hurst and Jack Stobbs.
Stops.
Have they?
Yep, 50 rupees.
Which is brilliant. Oh, we mentioned George Hurst. I wonder if that's the final time that he'll be talked about on this podcast.
Might crop up later. But no,
It reminds me though when the coach's wife, when she was really poorly, and you used to go on, and if you go on now and you look at donations, and on her page, because she sends out an update like every month, and I always end up going on and giving her some money. But if you go on there and you go on highest donations, people like Stephen Fletcher have given £1,000. You know, Ross Wallace £1,000. Fessy, I think Fessy gave £1,000 a few times over.
Yeah.
Then there was that random sheikh that gave 10 grand. That was just a friend of. Carl,
I do like a random shake.
Especially if you get 10 grand. Here's random shake. Here's £10,000.
Well, whatever he does
Whatever,
on Friday.
usually a tenner to be fair, but you know.
But that's a nice old school team spirit. That when we talked to Lee Peacock and we were talking about like the players actually being friends and having that team spirit behind them. I don't care if it's, even if it's an ego thing and Ross Wallace sees that Fletcher's given £1,000 and think, oh shit, it's got his name on it, I'd better give £1,000. So what? Just keep doing it. Let's have it.
So I'm just looking at the page now. The Jack and Matt with lots of teas are up to £2,105. So again, the target is 5,000. So if I'm there already, please do pop up and have a little look, and we'll get that taken care of too.
Yeah.
Marvellous.
That's brilliant, and fair play to everyone that's donated something, because times are hard, aren't they? We're up to Christmas and people haven't got masses and masses of money, so I think it's brilliant.
No,
Oh, thank you very much.
I wonder if that anonymous person was that donated £10.
It can be difficult. We did some anonymising when we did the Muff Fund, and people popped back and said I didn't mean to do it anonymously because they wanted to be included in our songs. So if Matt with 70s is going to do some wonderful songs as well, that'd be fantastic. Right, so obviously earlier we spoke about injuries, and we've had some injury updates as well, haven't we? So it looks as though hopefully for the new year we should have Fessy back, we should have Putch back, and Boyd back.
Just a month of shit to watch in the meantime.
Woohoo!
Are you excited? Do you think that will change our season? Because I think when Fessy comes back especially, we are going to have the Fessy of old and not the Fessy of the last few
If
seasons.
he comes back.
When he comes back.
I'm just saying
it can't not change that. The calibre of players that they are and coming back in, it can't not. If it doesn't change, then we might as well kiss
Do
it
you know this
goodbye
George
now.
Boyd thing, right? And I made a right twat to myself the other day. Is he going blind, or is that just something that Dan
he's
Fudge
blind
says?
in one eye.
Is he?
He's always been blind in one
We
eye.
could be friends.
Maybe you could, yeah.
Is it society?
Gordon Banks was blind.
As long as
in
it's
one eye,
not-
As long as you don't approach each other from the road.
So I'm trying to work out.
you're screwed,
I'm
aren't
blind
you?
in my right eye. So if he's blind in his left eye, we could walk as one. And the other way as well, couldn't we?
And together you'd be like a complete footballer.
Except I'm deaf in that ear.
What?
So it'd be like, yeah, no.
Gordon Banks he was blind in one eye. He had to give up, didn't he? Because he couldn't judge crosses.
You know,
That's really impressive, that, because there's a lot of things that since I went,
Chris
like, I
Wood's
know
gonna
I'm
use
going
that
off topic,
excuse.
but since I lost sight in that eye, there's a lot of things that I couldn't head a ball now and things like that, and to be able to head a ball and control them, I can see your arm move and I can't see your hand. I know what it's doing. But there are a lot of things that's really impressive, because I said it at the weekend, everyone was like, he's not going blind. It was like, Dan Fudge says he's going blind.
no, yeah, I think,
picture
I
of
think
him,
he's, I don't know if he's completely blind in one eye, but he's certainly like, majority blind. in-
George, if you want to meet up at the Hallamshire Eye Clinic, I've got an appointment in 3 months. We can be friends.
It's lovely. Well, slightly weird. I've been unconvinced about Boyd all season. And I don't know, my only fear with all this is whether or not there's going to be so much pressure on Forestieri. because
Yeah.
we've been so poor without him.
Like there was before
That
when he
it
got
is like
injured.
we are viewing it, and I know at the moment Lord H has got a temporary saviour of Sheffield Wednesday, but we are kind of genuinely counting down to him coming back as being the saviour of our season, aren't we? And that's a lot of pressure for someone to handle.
And it can be
You
far
know,
too late.
He can
as well.
win games, but we know that he can lose games as well. And if he's got that amount of pressure on his shoulder, and maybe he's not going to be 100% when he first comes back, I don't know. I don't know whether or not it's just a bit too much.
Right, sorry.
What are you doing, Lord H?
I was just doing a little bit of live tweeting, so if you are on Twitter right now, and just say hello. Hi. This is where we're at with the Sheffield Tap. So we're actually recording the podcast.
The Hillsborough Tap.
The Hillsborough Tap. Why do I keep saying
The Wednesday tap.
the Wednesday
Oh,
tap.
For Christ's sake, one of you.
Well, there is a Hillsborough Tap, isn't there? That's
Yeah,
that
There is,
Hillsborough
yeah.
Hillsborough,
corner.
funny enough, yeah.
This has not been the best 20 seconds of our podcast, let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely. So we're just going to have a quick look around, just so if you're on Twitter and then you listen to the podcast, you can see what's happening. And this is Donald Mike that we spoke about earlier. Look, here he is with his lovely hair. And here's the comparison with Rich and Donald Mike. It's
You cheeky get, aren't you?
got some hair, and there we go. It's fantastic.
I can reach you, you know.
Yeah, so if you are watching on Twitter right now, just say this is really weird that we're actually in the same room and we're in this lovely place. But yes, and Vic's going to go to the bar. Hi, Vic.
Hiya.
Vic's actually G's for the evening, which is fantastic.
What would you like?
Just
You wish you was G's for the
Coke.
evening.
driving.
Diet Coke or normal Coke?
Come on.
Normal Coke. Don't
Right,
you
so
drink?
hi Twitter, just thought it was hello, and we shall carry on with Paul and Donald Mike.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 014 232 6121.
Right, then let's crack on, shall we? So strange saying that with people watching me say it. And
Much prefer it cracking
do you
off, but
normally
it's
do
different.
when you-
Yeah.
well, I'm usually secluded. I'm only on coke.
Saluted.
I'm only on coke.
I know, he's not even got his means
Sneaking
today.
some of your homebrew.
The first person to illegally drink in the Wednesday tap.
Hey.
Right, that time. Right, yeah. So let's crack on. It's only written.
Big
everywhere.
sign over there, yeah.
Absolutely.
And there. And there.
So tonight was the draw for the FA Cup, ball number 35, and apparently we were pulled out quite late.
We're the last ball.
Yeah.
The last ball to be pulled out,
Apparently so, yeah.
and we have drawn. Is it Gillingham or
Carlisle.
Carlisle? Are we happy with that, or did you want a lovely time?
These are crappy trips, aren't they?
Are they?
Boring as
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Not
Would
banana
you
skin,
like
maybe. I don't know.
Carlisle is such a long way away.
If it is a banana skin, though, everyone will just say, well, we need to concentrate on the league now anyway.
No, we do. We do. I'm not going to say that I'm not bothered if we lose, because last time I said that, it was the first time that someone listened to the podcast and switched off after
Oh, yeah?
30 seconds.
Yeah,
It
you
was
got
entirely
slated on
my
Elmstorm,
fault. I got
didn't you?
slated on Elmstorm. Heaven forbid.
I bet you've not slept
yeah.
well
I mean, I'm
since,
not-
have you? No.
Arguably, though, like, is the FA Cup now probably our best chance of something decent this season?
No,
We're not going to
we're
win
not
it.
going to get anywhere.
Yeah, we're not going to win it.
It
Let's
might
be
be
blunt.
fun. We've
We
had
might
some
beat
wonderful-
Gillingham away.
Couple of Premier League.
And then we'll go out to
teams
Stoke
there.
at home on a Tuesday
Yeah,
night.
getting the kids all giddy about watching us against the Premier League team again will be something, you know?
Well, actually, it was fun. When we played Newcastle, we destroyed Arsenal, didn't we? It was lovely.
Man
It was-
City away was a hoot as well, wasn't it? And there's always some crap that comes out, isn't there? There's always some crap. And we've just got to, play
That's
kids,
not
play
me.
kids, play George Hurst.
When we played City and the saviour of Sheffield Wednesday Football Club after you scored that goal,
He did, yes.
it
I
was
remember that well.
amazing.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And you know, I mean, there's a chance that we could get something decent in the fourth round. I've already booked to go away fourth round weekend, so I'd miss it if we did. So in that case, I hope that we get knocked out by either Gillingham or Carlisle.
Oh, that's another. We just lost 40 listeners then, Joe. We just dropped off. Well, personally, I still believe in the magic of the cup. And looking at Richard's face, it just
The magic's just not hitting me at the minute, I'll be honest, you know, in general.
we're getting a couple of pints, and the magic will be there. But no,
one.
we would like to hear your views on the magic of the cup. If you would like to, or would like, maybe we should put a poll out about the cup. I'm sure there's probably one there.
Yeah, it's an emotive one, isn't it? It gets people going. Because I really
I
couldn't
like
be
it when
last
someone's a
few seasons. I've
part-time
not been
postman and
bothered.
then they're playing against Man City
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
I think that's really exciting. But this, like, for us, it's like, oh, there's George Hurst, or there's George Boyd and he's blind in one eye. That doesn't mean it's not like a postman, is it?
Well, it might be. You never know. We've got to be doing something while he's off. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Does he get
Can't do,
statistic pay?
if you only do one side of the street, can't you? Am I allowed to say that? Probably not.
Probably not. Have you turned into fudge, Jay?
Yeah, it seems
His
to be.
blindest to you.
all in good humour.
No, I love the cup and I would love to do well in it, but not at detriment of obviously the league. I do think we need to concentrate on that as best we can. It'd be nice to see the kids do well.
Yeah, but we're not going to do well, are we? We'll win 1 or 2 games, then we'll drop out anyway, and everyone will say, oh, well, if you'd have concentrated on
Well,
the
if you're going
league.
to take an attitude like that.
Well, it's true.
That's another 40 listeners just gone because
I
of
know,
you,
well, I
Victoria.
don't care.
There's an advert for
Riddance.
Virginial Dryness just come on the TV. Vagisam, I've never heard of that before.
Another reason to come to the
Vagisam
Wednesday
Moist
chat.
Cream.
Get it from Boots, apparently.
No, I thought to be less.
So if anybody needs any,
I know where I'm going after we finish this.
Right, so we mentioned the kids in the FA Cup. We have had some news now about Mr. Hurst, or we've had one side of the story about Mr. Hurst. We've been purposely avoiding the subject because Jay hates it. Right, Jay?
Well, I do and I don't. I've been in this slightly weird position whereby I was at the last steering group meeting where the chairman kind of told us the story of what had happened, but he told us it in a kind of a third-party way, so that he wasn't actually
Wasn't
like
naming him, was
naming
he?
anyone.
Yeah.
He was talking about his friend in Thailand who runs a football club and a player that they've got, and it was quite obvious that he was just wanting to tell us, but he kind of felt like he couldn't do, and he also obviously he wanted it to stay within the room, and I think that for all of us it was like none of the people in that room wanted to be the one that kind of betrayed that trust and that confidence, so that's why I've just not really wanted to talk too much about it, because it's kind of like when you do hear it, because I think as much as I think today the way the fans have reacted to it in terms of backing the chairman and saying they think he's done the right thing, I think it's been really, really good, and I wasn't really sure how the fan base would react to it, but it's just one of those situations, isn't it, where no one comes out of this looking good, really. This is a really crap situation where you've got a young lad who's obviously good at football and wants to play football, and he's not playing football, and there's no one that can take anything positive from it at all. It's just a right old stinking mess.
There's a friend of mine that says there's always 3 sides to every story. Both sides, and then the actual truth as well in there. And I don't think we'll ever find it out. It is what it is, but it's
Yeah, it's
massive
massive book,
disappointment.
won't it, in 30 years' time?
It's disappointing. I'm just trying to think. I was told something recently by an ex-Wednesday player who said the thing about George Hurst now is he's always going to have his dad with him, and that's what clubs are going to look at. And his advice to David Hurst was to just leave him to be what he is, but that's clearly not happening. So
That's the thing.
much as I love Hurst, he's a
Is
bit
it clear?
So,
So,
dad.
just to clear this up for people that may have not, because this has obviously just come out on Mr. Chansiri's final Ask the Chairman.
Part 13, I
Part
think.
13.
Yeah, I'm looking
He
for
saved it till last,
Looking
didn't
for
it?
George.
It was like the EastEnders moment.
So, essentially what's been said there is the club tried to work out a deal that was rebuffed. That deal was rebuffed.
I like the word rebuff.
I'm trying to be polite here because I'm still a massive George Hurst fan, and don't get me wrong, I don't think any of this is young Mr. Hurst's fault. He has advisors. I'm sure the lad just wants to play football. So that was rebuffed. There were offers for him that came in after that. So was it possible that the club that made these offers were speaking to George Hurst without the club's permission, or speaking to his advisors without permission? Of course, it's just one side of the story, of course. And then after that, another offer was made, which was again rebuffed, and now it's got to the point where the club are trying to speak to George's
3
advisors.
weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, and now they're just refusing to get back in contact. So again, that's one side of the story, but it's the only one we've got.
Yeah.
So unless the other people are going to come out and say, no, this happened, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, you're right. The only thing I'd say in addition to that, of the way it's kind of broke today, and like I say, I think the fact that the fans have kind of reacted in the way they have, I think, has been positive for us as a football club, because recently it kind of feels like anything that either Mr. Chansiri or Carlos says, that people are just going to argue with them. The only thing I've not liked seeing is people really kicking off at George Hurst himself.
No.
And some of the stuff that's been said on Twitter today, I think, has just been disgusting, because this is just a lad that, you know, he's a young lad. What is he, 18, 19 now, something like that?
Yeah, maybe pushing 20. I think
Yeah,
that's about it.
you know, he's surrounded by people that are throwing advice at him,
Well, they're deciding
not
his
necessarily
career for him,
with
aren't
his
they?
best interests at heart, but you know, with their own interest to protect as well. And you know, I don't think that any of this is his fault, and I think it's a bit rough on fans that have been, you know, giving him some serious abuse and calling him
It's
out.
just disappointing it's turning out that it's all about money. It should be about football.
I think
shouldn't it?
No,
it's-
you're
it's-
absolutely right. And
19.
that sums it up. That
It's
sums
very
it up.
disappointing as well to be a 20-year-old lad. Like, if any of us had been given the opportunity to play for Sheffield Wednesday for a £5 a week, let's be honest, we all would have done it.
Yep.
It must be so disappointing for a young lad on that night that he'll have probably come home and gone, so, let's say, make up a name, Michael, his agent.
Michael!
Michael, have I got a contract? And him going, well, no, and we couldn't really agree anything, so I'm afraid you can't play for the next year. Now, as a 20-year-old kid, you've probably, if you're as good as they say he is, and you're a striker and you can possibly drop back to midfield or onto the wing, you've probably got 15 years in you at a good level. But also, you could go out and break your leg next Thursday. And if he's just going to, you know, if that's what he's going to do, he's just going to sit and fester as a young lad. You've also got to be, I hope he's got the right people around him, not in his business interest, but also in his personal interest, because it can be a very lonely, boring place to be a footballer that's not playing football. And I just hope that he's looked after properly.
Yeah.
If this wasn't George Hurst, if this was another player that wasn't,
But
No,
it
it
is,
wouldn't
isn't
it?
it?
We
But
wouldn't
it is,
even
isn't
know,
it?
would you?
It is. It's
the
former saviour of Sheffield Wednesday football club and his father. But he actually, that's what you call a saviour,
Yeah.
not this shite that you're on
You
about.
behave. If it wasn't Hurst's lad, maybe it wouldn't be as emotive.
If it was Jack Stobbs, nobody'd even be listening, would they, really? And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, he's doing well, but it's the name. And it's the fact that so much pressure was piled on him because his surname begins with an H and ends in Hurst. That's like the whole point.
First. So you or I?
We've seen what
Mentioning you
happened
in a minute.
Like
when,
Hillsborough starts with an H and ends in Hillsborough going to this receipt.
when there was the Fessy negotiations happening. People were on the side of the club, not the side of the player. And obviously Fessy got dog's abuse. And
But
Right,
on the other hand, for that, Fessy had proved that he was probably our best player. He'd proved that, and then we brought in 2 players on double his money, or triple, I think one of them was, and he wanted the same. And I think, as fans, people kind of went, do you know what, you'd probably say the same. If we did the same admin job in an office, and you came in one day and earned 90 grand a year, and I earned 30, I'd be fuming. So we could kind of understand it from that side, but Hurst hasn't. Alright, he's played in the youth team, he's played for England, he's done that, but he's not actually proved himself as a Sheffield Wednesday player. I've not seen him, and I go to some reserve games or whatever. Well, I live next door.
Fessy's won games for us, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's won points that have counted towards our league position. George Hurst is clearly a talent, but you're going to, it's improving, and that's a difficult thing when it comes to negotiations. As Mr. Chansiri said, he was prepared to make him our highest ever paid youth player,
Yeah.
or academy
Which is
player.
good
however
money
it is.
as well. It is good money, that,
I mean,
because
any
some of
of
those
us
are
would
on
jump at it. you know.
10 times what we're on.
We're talking.
I bet it's something ridiculous between what the purported, what he's supposed to have wanted, and what he had actually offered. I bet it's minuscule.
It used to be, if you got your first pro contract, I think Jamesy told us it was about 200 quid a week, something like that. But now it's 10 times that.
I think we're talking quite a bit more than that, aren't
Yeah,
we? In this,
£2 grand a week as an 18-year-old living in Sheffield, you'd be buzzing. I'd be buzzing. Christ.
What the chairman said at the steering group was that it would have meant that he was on more than some first team players in the squad. And that's a hell of a statement, isn't it? Then
You think at work it'd be very, very difficult to manage somebody who earned a lot more money than you. It's a lot more difficult, and I'm not materialistic in any way with money and stuff. Well, I'm obviously not, so I gave my £10 donation. As you know. I just don't like to mention it.
I'd spend on beer.
But the thing is, like, I would find it very, very difficult if somebody who was meant to report into me or be junior to me at work earned 5 times my salary. It's just been very, very strange. Like, how would you be even able to tell him off?
there is the flip side out as well, is that when Mr. Hurst does go away with England, and he's got players that play for
Yeah.
United, City, and they will be on
Well, they'll be on 30 grand a week.
ridiculous amounts of money. So yes, while he's at the club, fantastic, highest paid player. As soon as he goes away with England, he could be perceived as a pauper.
And that's one thing that we've said before as well about, Sheffield as a city. What can we offer a kid? If we offer, say, Fernando Forestieri, for example, coming in, what can we offer him apart from 30 grand a week, reportedly, as opposed to what someone in London can offer him at 30 grand a week, where he's next to an airport and he's got all these opportunities and he's in the capital city and and that's one thing that we do need to sort of try and balance out. I don't agree with making.
We've got a spearmint rhino.
We've got a spearmint rhino. We've got
Walker
players.
Jones, 18.
And we've got a Viper Rooms, which is where
we've got
Jamie
an
Vardy
airport.
met his wife.
Just can't fly anywhere.
We've got an airport. You can just get a helicopter to Doncaster. But the thing is, like with things like that, I think Chansiri's done exactly the right thing this time, and 100%. But I do think in future it's something that we should learn from, because we don't have those extra attractions. Like, we all love Sheffield. We're born and bred here. We adore it. But if you were coming in and someone in Manchester or Liverpool or Leeds, Bradford offered you the same, and you were a foreign player, or you were wanting to go away, or you're wanting those opportunities, you'd be more likely to go there for the same amount of money. So we've got to offer something a bit different, and not just a flat up at Middlewood Hospital.
Happy with that. You're playing football for a living, and again, it might be that George is sat there now saying, "Chuck me, just let me play football."
Oh,
Because there are studies done that say when you monetize it to that extent, players become worse because they just care about the money. You need to love the game. We spoke about it last week, the art of the game rather than the
but the point is, he'll probably get a club that he can play football at, probably top of the Championship or bottom of the Premier League, whatever, and earn the money that his agents wanted him to earn. So that's the sad fact that's going to happen.
Possibly. The other thing really is, like, he's going to go pretty much a full year without playing football.
Yeah.
At this stage of his career, how damaging can that be to someone? You do your learning in your late teens, early
Especially
20s,
as a
really.
striker.
We've all acknowledged the fact that, like, 24, 25 is when you're kind of at your prime as an attacking player, because you've got the intelligence to go with your actual natural talent. What are you laughing at? Intelligence.
The tragedy dance.
Just pointing to my temples as I said it.
Just all step style.
Yeah, and if he doesn't do that learning at the right age, he might never really realise the potential that he could do.
I think he's been shafted in a few directions without any say in it whatsoever. And I
probably
think
agree with
I might be completely wrong.
Filthy
He might
lot.
be sat there now on a bed of 50s going, I don't give a shit, at least I'm getting paid. I very, very much doubt it. Because knowing his dad as well, his dad's not, his dad's a Sheffield bloke at the end of the day, and he worked hard for his money. He still lives on bloody 20well Lane, because he'll never sell that out. It's been up for sale for about 20 years. But I just can't see it. I can't see him being laid there fanning himself with a £20 note and going, it's all great. I think he'll be frustrated.
I'd use a 50.
The worst thing that I wouldn't want to happen
Boy.
is the actual for the Hurst name to become besmirched under Sheffield Wednesday Football Club and towards fans,
I
because
think that happened though, didn't it, unfortunately?
you just watch the videos. It gets my Hursty juices flowing again.
I haven't nothing against Guy. I think he's doing what Rich would do for his two boys.
He takes us to the pub, so
They take me to the pub, to be fair, and take me home from it as well.
But Richard's got to think about his two sons and what nursing home he wants and whatever else. So
Yeah,
you're
and which
gonna
one's
push
going to
for
wipe my
more.
backside,
And
everything, yeah.
You've also got to think about Hursty's career, and I'm not saying Hursty has any part in this, because I don't know. I really don't. All I know is obviously he left the club when this happened. But if you look at his career, and he didn't end up going to Manchester United because of what happened at Hillsborough, and he missed a few opportunities in his career when he was watching the likes of Waddle go to Marseille, and he was watching people do these big things, that maybe he's actually going, do you know what, son? Don't stick it out here. Like, there are bigger and better things.
he didn't do bad.
It's probably just being a dad, right? And it's weird to think of that with Hursty.
It is kind of reality now as well, isn't it? It's like there isn't a way back. There's no, if they're not even like returning each other's calls and stuff now, it's at the point of just no return. So we've just got to kind of accept it now, haven't we? And just, I think the fact that at least fans can see the club side of it now, and I know when was it John Beresford, was it an ex-United player that was on Alan Biggs a few weeks ago, and after he had his say on it, and a lot of fans were getting on at the club about what they've done and all that kind of stuff. I think now at least they've seen the other side to it, and in a way we've just got to kind of put it to bed, haven't we? And just like it's going to be that one that got away maybe.
But we did say this with Fessy just over a year and a half ago, so who knows? He might come back fighting and blast us into Wembley. Who knows?
It's going to be quite difficult to forget though, because the sort of full-size back tattoo that I've got of George Hurst's face is going to be rather difficult.
It's alright, get me a permanent marker, I'll turn it to Dave for you.
You've got the Saviour.
Put some more whiskers on it. Tell you what else I've realised while we've been talking with the E17 video in the background, that our microphone is actually the 5th member of E17 from the Staying of the Day music video.
I was going to say, don't you think I didn't know if it was picking up the music, because it's a bit ironic that we're talking about George Hurst like potentially leaving his entire Sheffield Wednesday career with just
Stay now.
Have we got PRS for this thing as well?
Shut
up. We'll chat about that. Right then, do we have any more Wednesday news, Jay? I don't think we do we? Are we all newsed up?
I think we pretty much are. There was one other thing that I just wanted to mention, which was, as a few people saw on Saturday, it was the launch of a new supporters group at Hillsborough, which is the Proud Owls group. And I'm sure lots of people have read the stuff that the club put out about that. In actual fact, it became quite a big deal that on Saturday. I didn't expect it to be quite as big a launch as it was, with stuff like the rainbow corner flags and all the little touches
rainbow
and stuff
laces,
like that. Yeah, rainbow laces that were that was really good, and a real positive thing. And it's great the club are getting behind that.
And the fans, a lot of fans. Really behind it as well. I think it's fantastic.
I just find it such a mixed bag, and I think sometimes people need to just wake up and look at themselves in the mirror when, there were so many replies to that tweet, or just tweets in general saying, why isn't there a straight supporters group, or why on earth do we need gay pride? I'm straight and I'm proud. It's like, mate, would you have been in prison 20 years ago for liking a woman? No, you wouldn't, so shut your face.
I stayed out of the argument on Twitter and social media and stuff, but if there's anyone listening to this that maybe kind of thinks, is it necessary to have a group of this sort in existence? And I accept the argument that it's about bringing our fan base together rather than anything that kind of defines differences between us. But if you imagine someone that's whether it's a young lad or a young girl that are growing up and they're interested in football, and they think, I want to go to football, and they think, I can't because my sexuality is a barrier, because they perceive football to be something that we all know it isn't. But if you've never been to a match before and you think, I'm interested in football, but it's not for me, I can't go because I'm a gay man or I'm a gay woman or whatever, that this group's there to kind of reach out to them and say, well, I'll tell you what, come and meet us in the pub before the match, and we'll show you what it's really like, and you'll see that it's not a scary place, and that you'll not get bricks thrown at you or whatever it is that people might be worried about. And that ultimately is what it's about. It's about breaking down a barrier and trying to reach out to people that are maybe interested in football and interested in Sheffield Wednesday, but think that their sexuality could be a barrier. And that's what it's there for, and that's why it isn't about trying to put a divide between straight fans, gay fans, transgender fans, anyone.
Isn't it? It's open to allies. Anyone can get involved.
Absolutely the point. It's about those people that don't go to games now, that have a perception of football, and that's what this is about challenging, is that perception of football.
The thing is, as well, you only have to look at language that's used at the football, and we'll all sit there, we'll all laugh and blind, we'll all swear, we'll all cheer, apart from you, my lord. But we'll all say, we'll all shout things and whatever. But at no point now would you shout something. Or I would hope 99.999% of Hillsborough would not shout anything racist, but nobody would even question calling someone a Nancy or all these other names that are used when someone goes down from a tackle or something. You think that is the kind of thing that this, like James said, there's a young teenage lad out there that wants to go to a match that maybe doesn't have anyone else to go with, and he's probably uncomfortable about the fact of going on his own because of language like that. That actually, if he's in a group of people who are gay, straight, lesbian, bi, transgender, plus, and allies, straight allies, like, you don't have to be gay or like anything else to be involved in this group. You can just be involved as a supporter and as someone who's willing to turn around and go, no, that's not right. And that's the mic drop.
That's my fault.
But that's the whole point of it. So look at it properly, read into it properly, and find out what it is about, and not think it's something about separating the gays from the straights, because it's really not.
As a white heterosexual male,
You are the devil
Absolutely.
in today's society.
well, it's not so much that. I've never had to think about things like this. It's not something that crosses my mind at all. And that's the point. I didn't realise that it might have been a problem for other people as well. But now it's brought to my attention. And again, there is no white heterosexual male there because we don't need one. It's as simple as that. We don't have to have one. We're okay. But people do need.
Nobody questions the fact there's the Wise Old Owls fan club, do they? Or all these other
Or
ones.
the Ages Soda or whatever.
Soda or whoever else, there's the Disabled Fans Club, there's the Oldies fan club, there's all these different ones. Christ, we even let women play football at Hillsborough.
Really?
Monkey
I know,
tennis.
I know. But yeah, this has been some sort of big uproar, and it's 2017, it's nearly 2018, wake up.
Calm down. Right then, so if that's everything, we shall pop on with the Norwich game, shall we? Boys and girls?
I thought you were going to suggest getting some shots in then, I was up for it.
Well, just because you're not driving, yeah. Vic's walked and now she's getting
worried
blood.
about these face-to-face podcasts. It's rather scary. So Norwich, a club very much like yourselves, they are expected to do great things, and they are not doing great things.
They are bottom of the form table, and
We're not much higher though, I guess.
No, we're
7 games unbeaten.
Yeah,
I think we're about 10th in the
had
form
about
table.
4 shots or
But they also do a table of the most difficult to beat teams. This is teams that haven't lost in the longest amount of time, and we are top of that table. And Norwich are bottom because they've lost the most in
Yeah,
their
but there's only one
recent
table that really
games.
counts. So let's be
So,
Well, unless you
ergo,
could
Norwich
score.
are going to absolutely hammer us. It's the only possible outcome on Saturday, isn't it? They are absolutely on the verge of giving someone, or it's sod's law, isn't it? That they're going to be on the verge of giving someone a hiding. So we need to be.
The same could be said for
on
us.
it.
Gary Hooper might be on form
Yeah, I
as
mean, to
well.
be fair.
He's got a point to prove there, and well, not a
Yep,
point
true.
to prove, but he's got 2
He's got
fingers
previous
to stick
there,
up.
hasn't he?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think the Saviour should start the game because
Oh,
he needs to
But why
save.
not? He's a Saviour of Sheffield Wednesday, apparently.
No, he will.
You said it. You said it. We can
No,
cut out
I said apparently.
We can cut out the apparently.
Editing. With background music, it's going to be difficult to edit this, actually.
Yeah, he'll cut from U17 to Power of Love
That's
within
going to be
seconds.
disappointing.
Not the
But
Kate Rush one.
I think we are going to see him because I think he's a ball player, and I think he will save the game as he does. Maybe in the last.
I think he'll start. I do. I think Carlos will take. I think sometimes Carlos does these things, like we saw it the other week when he made 6 changes, where he's obviously been told, and like Chansiri has said a million times, he's advised by somebody who reads Twitter and Owls Talk, listens to this and all that. He's been told that everyone wanted changes, so Carlos kind of went, fine, I'll make changes, see what happens, and it didn't work. But I do feel like he's probably going to be like, do you know what, fine, you want Dave to start? Dave can start, see what happens. Let's hope it works.
And we'll win
I
17
don't
0
know. I hope that you're wrong. And
I do. I think it's better as a
I
sub.
think that you're wrong.
Jennifer Rush. Jennifer Rush, not Kate Rush.
What?
Sorry, Power of Love. I was going on a tangent. I knew I got it wrong.
For the benefit of anyone at home, Dickie's in a world of his own right now. I'm not really sure where he is.
Because I said Kate Rush sang the Power of Love, and I'm
Kate
like,
Bush you were
no,
thinking of, not
it's not. It's Jennifer Rush, and I was googling it. That's what I was doing. So I apologise for that.
Lovely.
Get me facts right. Can't be like off.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think he is an off the bench player, isn't he, Ati? And I think Carlos really recognises that.
If he wasn't an off the bench player, he wouldn't be a saviour. There's been nothing to save. He would just be the best player we've got. But because he comes off the bench, he saves the game, so that's what makes him the saviour of Sheffield football. Simple.
You are going to have to stop this at some point. You know?
What are you drinking?
Coke.
You know, at Christmas, do you think there'll be a massive Dave-shaped star in the sky over Hillsborough to lead us all back to the Premier League?
Penis shaped.
No.
Oh dear. But yes, if the worst comes to the worst with Norwich, do you think there's going to be a ridiculous meltdown? Because Carlos mentioned that there is. He would explain his tactics at the end of the season. Do you guys have any idea what that means?
I don't know.
That was a language barrier, I think. 100. I think that was meant to be me saying, James, why have you done that? And him going, look, just ask me at the end of the season, we'll see what happens. Rather than, I'll tell you at the end of the season. I think it was a bit of a, you just wait and see, bitches. I don't think it was. But
I don't know. I've tried to like super analyse it and try and figure out what on earth that would mean. And the only thing I can kind of conclude is that, and this is just pure speculation in my own head, is that it's he's had orders from on high from someone to say you've got to play a certain way, and Carlos is already kind of resigned to the fact that he won't be here in the summer, therefore he can talk about stuff in the summer.
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't be about Christmas,
I don't know.
but
I think actually Vic's explanation is probably better in terms of the fact that it could just be like a misunderstanding, because it's a weird thing to say.
It didn't times, hasn't it? Like meats
sense.
on the fire and all that jazz.
Didn't
Like,
make sense.
there's been a few things that he said that we've laughed at, but actually, if you translate them literally, come out a bit weird, which is probably how he's learnt it. But if it's a phrase, like you think if you went out and said to a Spanish bloke, "Oh, it's raining cats and dogs," he'd duck, wouldn't he?
Do you think he's trying to say his meat was on fire? Is that what? Is it some kind of
He's got
sexual
like
reference?
I think there's probably
It's got
there is
Jennifer
probably
Thrush.
a Portuguese. It's a Vagisil. There's probably a Portuguese sentence that says like something like, "We've thrown all our meat on the barbecue. We're really going to go for it." But for us, it came out as all of our meats is on the fire. But it's probably a sentence that means we've just gone for it. We've chucked everything at it, which is a thing that we would say. So I think that maybe ask me at the end of the season, or I will tell you at the end of the season, is a all right, if you don't believe me, just wait until the end of the season. We'll see. I still don't think it's right, let me say, like by any means, because I think play some bloody attacking football now.
Cout.
Cout.
No, not Cout. What's the opposite of Cout? Kin.
Cout and Nahin.
Well, it's sin actually, isn't it?
Yeah, no, no.
Are you a sinner?
I am.
Or are you a right bloody cow?
Ding dong. But no, I think
He does
Carlos.
the face in real life.
I know it's like that was a bit unnerving.
Um,
It's the face you don't want to see first thing in the morning. Oh no dear.
I mentioned it a few weeks ago. I think Carlos does have a season-long plan, and I think he's getting frustrated with people calling him an idiot because, let's face it, Carlos has probably forgotten
Don't
more
be
about
an idiot
Well,
then.
when he wants to start executing this plan, then we're all good and willing to watch it.
Carlos
Yeah.
has forgotten more about football than we'll ever know. Let's face it.
Just because it's written
Yeah,
in
we're
a
not
book.
coaches, but we can have an opinion, and we can
have an opinion.
and say, but everybody can see how bloody shocking it is. Out there.
And
Doesn't take
we
any-
naturally we have short memories in football, and no one can say that we shouldn't do because we pay us money.
But we've seen this for 3 seasons now. We start
Yeah,
the season slow.
Yeah,
I
but
was
we're
saying-
halfway through the season now.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to kick on. As soon as Fez comes back, as soon as Hutch comes back, and then all those players that have been
Yeah, you might be right. But
conserving their energy for the first half of the season, when all the other teams are dropping to bits, because you look at the other side of the city, you look at all these teams that started well, they're starting to struggle now because their players are now starting to drop out. Whereas ours are starting
Well, I
to come
don't
back.
know. I mean, they've lost one game. I'd still swap.
I think though, James, I don't want to just drop this in here, but I was asked to write a feature for the Norwich programme this weekend, and I sent it to James to proofread for me.
Media whore.
I know. Well, I obviously sent it to James to proofread for me just to make sure I've got enough. But I had to write 7 facts that you might not know about Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously for some away fans that'll buy the programme, but mainly for home
Did you have a
fans
New Year
and-
fact in that?
No, I didn't.
No, okay.
But one of the facts was that Carlos Carvalhal is the first non-British manager this club has ever had. And when you write that down as a fact, you go, yeah, whatever. And then you have to write down what he's achieved in those 3 years, and it actually looks bloody impressive on paper. And it got to the point that I wrote it, and I was like, Jesus, like Norwich fans are going to be expecting.
But you don't
like
play
Real
football on
Madrid.
paper, though, do you? That's
You don't.
it. No.
You don't. Well, we'd be top of the league on paper. But
So, do you think we should triumph over Norwich?
no.
Are you excited
No.
for the game?
Yes,
It'll be a
There you
draw.
go.
I think we will.
It's a draw.
I'm not going.
I thought you'd be staying at John's mum's.
No, that was the original plan, but I have to do some Christmas shopping at some point. So when this one was shifted
about
to
Sunday?
TV, it was.
Don't buy me any soap.
I won't be able
because
to
I've
get
got
back
an
from Norwich.
M&S.
There's no trains back after a 5:30 kick-off, so it would be a full
Stop being
weekend.
sensible, for God's sake.
You're not
James.
shopping Norwich.
I'm not shopping. Have you ever been to Norwich? You're not shopping Norwich.
Well, yeah, but only for a
It
football
is.
match. And then
Norwich is all right.
It's all right. It's all right for pubs. It's not all right for
No,
shopping.
yeah, you
It's
make
got
a
a nice
good point.
church.
Yeah. It's got lots of churches.
That's
You
what,
can't
yeah.
shop in a church, can you?
Shit
I mean,
likes
you could
church.
probably shop in a church. I can't shop
Vic
in a church. If I bought my mum a Christmas gift in a church, she'd shoot me.
Nice little crucifix. It wouldn't go down well.
I was America had this wonderful, sort of clever, thought out thing
Podcast.
for every town, and we get shopping in church. Fantastic, lovely. Right, does anybody have any other little bits for this evening?
I just wanted to mention that I mentioned it the other week. At @O_SWFC has added to his 2017-18 banter thread for Sheffield Wednesday, and it just keeps getting better. It is hilarious. Well, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So just go on it and laugh at it.
Hashtag bants.
Fans.
Any little bits out? Are we scared to get our bits out because we're in the same room today?
It's a bit weird.
I'm always
isn't
happy
it?
to get
I
my
don't
bits
want to see
out.
James's little bits tonight.
You'd scream, but you know.
So Dickie, if you want to get on the Twitterage, where can we do that? Or be?
They can find me at Dickie Owl, and I've obviously said a lot more this week than I did say last week.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm feeling quite good.
Really quiet last week. We're really
I'm
strange.
very quiet, yeah.
Looking at the
Common
edit.
Probably have
denominator.
other shit on my head, probably, but you know.
No damn fudge. That's the main thing.
Yes, yeah. You can get a word in edgeways. Yeah, exactly.
Victoria, my darling, where can people find you up there on Twitterage?
You can find me at Victoria1867 on Twitter.
As we're all staring at each
I
other
know
like
it's
it.
right weird. Isn't it?
James, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at James Marriott. Obviously not going to Norwich, so my tweets this weekend will be very boring.
About
actually.
shopping?
Yeah, about
Should you?
shopping.
I think you
And my other secret project that I'm working on. No, I can't possibly say anything more about.
And if anyone is going to Norwich, can you please send me a photo of my feature in the programme, please? Thank
We're
you.
not sending you a copy.
They are sending me a copy,
Oh.
but I want it there and then. I'm a generation Y. I want to say X. It's more X, isn't it? I'm not really Y or Z, but I'm of that generation.
No patience.
I want it now.
It's a virtue. Of course, if you'd like to get on me on that on the Twitter, you can do that at Lord Hates. That's L0RD_Hates. Get all the podcasts at TWWcast and in all the usual places as well, including our fantastic website. James.
TheWednesdayWeek.co.uk.
.co.uk.
That's very radio. I like that.
Join us next week for more fun and games.
It has been a pleasure, as always, and a special pleasure this evening.
Yeah,
Girls,
been able
it's
to see you,
fantastic.
yeah.
Very,
Let's
very
make before we finish this podcast, make a pledge that we'll do this more often.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
we've just invested in this
not
chuffing
just here.
microphone, haven't
Yeah,
we?
we have. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do like a little tour of a few different
We
places.
might even get Eddie down here.
We could do it in my attic.
We're not.
What's the point?
Vic,
Oh, you can see
Yes,
the
that's
fantastic one.
have you ever had 3 guys in your attic before? Let's not
Yeah.
go down this route.
More than that.
Many times.
Usually chained up. Yeah.
Dickie's been there.
And a special pleasure, ladies and gents. Be good, be safe. Visit the Wednesday Tap. Obviously, on a night that the Riverside Cafe isn't open, of course. But that, visit the Wednesday Tap. It's a fantastic place. Have a little look at the video we've just popped out. We'll retweet it throughout the week. So, best do that too. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you real soon.